Hello and welcome to Spectrum News. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government declares holiday for Christmas New Year celebrations. Management of TAF Media Group tasks staff members on maximum productivity in 2023. Plus, UN removes Iran from women's rights body over protests crackdown. Details of these stories and more in a moment. In the news now, President Muhammad Buhari has met with the United States President Joe Biden in Washington, D.C. Photos shared by the presidency showed President Buhari in a meeting with Biden and the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken at the White House on the sidelines of the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, boost its influence in Africa for almost a decade. According to the U.S. government, the summit will demonstrate the country's enduring commitment to Africa, as well as underscore the importance of U.S.-Africa relations and increased cooperation on shared priorities. Free vote on the sidelines of the summit that has brought most African leaders to Washington. Biden and his top aides met separately with a group of 6 leaders as part of his democracy push. The group included Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, who is ineligible to seek a third term in February to lead Africa's most populous country, and President Felix Tshisekedi of the Democratic Republic of Congo, who took office in 2019 in the vast country's first peaceful transfer of power. Also at the meeting are Gabon's Ali and the leaders of Liberia, Madagascar, and Sierra Leone. Biden's National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said the participation of the leaders did not necessarily indicate that the United States had concerns with each country. Meanwhile, President Buhari says despite the challenges facing Nigeria, he has done his best since he assumed office in May 2015. The president stated this in Washington while welcoming the Secretary General of the Abu Dhabi Forum, Sheikh Al Mahfoud bin Bayer, and his deputy, Bob Roberts of the United States. President Buhari said the work of the foundation in promoting multi-faith dialogue was as important to the world as it was to Nigeria. In a statement signed by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, the president also underscored the need to raise generations of youths devoid of religious extremism and bigotry. Meanwhile, President Buhari has restated the Nigerian government's target of generating 30 gigawatts of electricity by 2030. President Buhari announced this during a discussion panel on just energy transition at the ongoing U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. The president, who outlined the comprehensive energy transition plan of his administration in response to issues associated with climate change, further explained that renewable energy into the national grid. While calling for considerable financial and technical support to achieve the goals, the president also encouraged U.S. businessmen and the global community to tap into the innovation and potential returns in Nigeria's enormous market. Away from that, federal government is looking to resume the mass prosecution of Boko Haram suspects held in selected military formations soon. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami confirmed this in Abuja. At the official court session to mark the AJF, who was represented by the Solicitor General of the Federation and Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Justice Beatrice Jedi Abwa, held the judiciary for its contribution to stabilizing the nation's democracy. Meanwhile, the federal government has described a Reuters report that the Nigerian military ran a secret mass abortion process. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, stated the government's position in Abuja at the 10th edition of the President Muhammadu Buhari Administration Scorecard Series 2015 to 2023. He claimed that the news agency had made the grave allegation without a scintilla of evidence, citing only anonymous sources and the reported review of phantom documents. In a separate development, federal government has launched a survey to verify victims of terrorist attacks in Plateau State. The victims, mostly men and women, were seen trooping to the venue of the verification exercise in Jos, where the officials from the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development were on ground the appropriate intervention response for the victims. The minister noted that Plateau State had been experiencing insecurity in the form of attacks and bomb blasts for years, necessitating a meeting with the victims to interact and get their data. Now, the Senate has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to considerably adjust its recently announced cash withdrawal limits in response to public outcry against the new policy. In its resolution, the upper chamber also asked its Committee on Banking and Finance to embark on aggressive oversight of the Apex Bank as it implements the policy and gives periodic reports to the Senate. The Senate's resolution was reached after an exhaustive debate by the lawmakers who attended plenary. Some lawmakers argued that the withdrawal threshold set by the CBN was unrealistic, considering the economic situation in the country, and some observed that the policy will adversely affect Nigerians in the informal sector, the unbanked, and while some legislators argued that the policy would put point-of-sale POS operators out of business. In the judiciary, Justice Sylvanus Origi of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja has declined to grant a motion seeking to stop the new cash withdrawal policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The application was brought before the court by 10 named applicants for themselves and on behalf of 20 million Nigerian citizens who do not use banks. Reports say, although the decision of the court was taken on Tuesday, that the court processes were obtained by journalists in Abuja within a week. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari, Attorney General of the Federation, Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, were listed as of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Edward Adamu, for the position of Deputy Governor of the CBN to complete another tenure in office. Also confirmed by the Senate was the CBN Deputy Governor Aisha Ahmed for the second and last time in that position. The confirmation of Adamu and Ahmed by the Senate was sequel to the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions presented by the Chairman, Senator Uba Sani. Meanwhile, the CBN has appealed to beneficiaries of its various loan facilities to pay back so others can benefit from the interventions. The bank made the appeal at its Development Finance Department retreat in Abuja within the week. The CBN also said it disbursed a total of 9.7 trillion naira through various interventions. The Deputy Governor in charge of Corporate Services, Edward Adamu, promised greater support for the Development Finance Department to further its interventions. He added that every region of the country would feel the impacts of the interventions. In the meantime, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, says the Apex Bank is committed to ensuring financial system stability and improving access to credit. Emefiele stated this in a recorded address to the 2022 edition of the Apex Bank's Development Finance Department retreat in Abuja. This last few years deepened support to the real sector and build a robust system infrastructure. According to him, the CBN has taken steps to intervene in the Nigerian economy beyond the traditional macroeconomic mandate of ensuring financial system stability and maintaining strong reserves. The lower chamber, the House of Representatives, has stepped down the second reading of two bills seeking to establish Nigeria Diaspora Intervention Trust Fund and Amendment for Same-Sex Act. The bill to establish Nigeria Diaspora Intervention Trust Fund was sponsored by Bamidele Salem for Osun State, while that of the Amendment for Same-Sex Act was sponsored by Financially Protect the Investment of Nigerians in the Diaspora, whose remittances run into billions of dollars, noting that about $3.4 billion had been remitted by Nigerians in diaspora. However, Boluga Ikemboju from Ondo State and other lawmakers opposed the bill, saying what was needed to Salem decided to step down the bill. Similarly, the House also stepped down the second reading of a bill for an act to amend Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act 2013 to prohibit cross-dressing and for related matters. In his lead debate, the sponsor of the bill, Muda Umar, faulted the idea of same-sex marriage, which to him prompted the idea of cross-dressing, saying it was foreign to Nigeria. Ruling on the bill, however, the Deputy Speaker Ahmed Wase advised the sponsor to withdraw the proposed legislation, asking him to study the culture of Nigerians first. On judicial matters, the Federal High Court in Abuja has vacated its November 29 order committing the Inspector General of Police Usman Buba to prison for contempt. In a ruling within the week, Justice Bolaji Olajuwo held that there was evidence before her court that the IGP had substantially complied with the court. Justice Olajuwon said the application by the IGP seeking the vacation of the committal order was worthy of sympathetic consideration. In education, members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and those of the Congress of University Academics, CONUA, say the allocation of 470 billion naira in next year's budget by the federal government is not enough to solve the problems confronting public universities in the country. According to the lecturers, what can be of help is collective bargaining, which would lead to an agreement that would be religiously implemented by the parties concerned. The union spoke in reaction to the message of President Muhammadu Buhari to the recent convocation of the Obafemi Award put an end to industrial actions public universities. Still in education, the Executive Secretary of Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Sonny Echono, has expressed the readiness of the fund to replicate innovation hub projects in public universities and other higher education institutions in the country. Echono made this known at the opening of TED Fund Alliance for Innovative Research Initiative in Abuja. The fund's boss noted that the move was part of efforts to institutionalize research and development in Nigeria. Away from that, the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has stated that its enrollment verification and other identification systems are working optimally. It also noted that the National Identification Number, NIN, has become mandatory to access all government services. It further reassured Nigerians of the provision of top-notch identification system for all Nigerians and legal residents. In the same vein, NIMC stated that enrollment and issuance of the NIN are free. The Commission warned that it would not tolerate any form of extortion and asked the public to report any such case to the appropriate quarters. On security, the Police Service Commission has approved the promotion of 745 senior police officers. The Commission also considered and approved the proper placement of 5 commissioners of police and 1 deputy commissioner. It also treated 14 appeals and petitions and 9 pending disciplinary matters from dismissed and serving police officers. This was contained in a statement by the Commission's head, Press and Public Relations, Ikechukwu Ani. According to the statement, the decisions were some of the high points of the 18th plenary meeting of the Commission, which ended in Abuja and was presided over by the Commission's acting chairman, Justice Clara Ogunbiyi. especially the police head ahead of the 2023 elections. Al-Khali Baba stated this during a public lecture and integrity award with the theme Promoting Integrity as a Way of Fighting Corruption, organized by the Center for Awareness and Accountability in conjunction with the Penlight Center in Kano. The IGP, who was represented by a Deputy Commissioner of Police Abubakar Zubairu, expressed gratitude to the center for its decision to recognize outstanding performance of security agents. He, however, admitted that the police, like every other human organization, had a few bad eggs whom he said were made to face the law when discovered. In politics, United States and credible general elections in Nigeria in 2023. The Consul General for the U.S. mission in Lagos, Will Stevens, stated this while speaking at an interactive session marking the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit 2022 at the American Corner in Lagos. Stevens also added that the U.S. government had no preferred candidate for the forthcoming Nigeria's 2023 general elections. Still in politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission has planned to spend 117 billion naira on electoral technologies, in line with its decision to deploy the bimodal voter accreditation system and the result viewing portal in the 2023 elections. This comes as the Commission is also investing in cybersecurity systems to ward off attacks by hackers against its servers, website, and database. Recall that the INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu had said there was no going back on the Commission's vow to use technology, including the bimodal voter accreditation system and result viewing portal in the forthcoming polls, despite protests by the presidential candidate and chieftains of a major political party. The INEC chairman, who announced portal during the Ekiti and Osun governorship elections, some of them from as far as Asia. Still in politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says Nigerians who registered for permanent voter cards (PVCs) more than once will not be issued new cards. INEC resident Electoral Commissioner Obo Efanga said this while commenting on complaints by some Nigerians who were unable to collect their PVCs since the Commission resumed distribution for new registrants. Recall that INEC resumed the distribution of PVCs across Nigeria, the Commission's preparation for the 2023 general elections. Now, ahead of the 2023 elections, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Mubar, within the week met with commissioners of police and heads of police formations in Abuja to strategize on election security. The meeting at the force headquarters was also attended by Deputy Inspectors General of Police, Assistant Inspectors General of Police, among others. It could be recalled that the IGP had on Tuesday met with stakeholders and emphasized on intelligence gathering in tackling security challenges. The IGP engaged in tactical meetings and conferences with various stakeholders to build solid standard operating procedures and strategic communication action plans towards a seamless electoral process next year. Air Force. The Commissioner, Ministry of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Kaduna State, Samuel Aruwan, announced this in a statement within the week. According to Aruwan, the feedback received showed that the Nigeria Air Force neutralized several bandits and destroyed camps across Benengwari, Igabi, and Chikun local government areas. The Kaduna State government received the report with thanks and commended the crews and personnel for the sustained effectiveness of the operations. It added that ground and air patrols would continue in the areas and other general areas. Meanwhile, a minor fire incident within the week occurred at the second floor of the defense headquarters, Garki Abu, is unknown at the moment. He, however, said the incident had been brought under control with the combined efforts of the military and federal fire service personnel and resources. Akpo said investigation to determine the cause of the fire incident had commenced immediately. Back here, the National Drug Law Enforcement and the LEA commander in Akwa Ibom, Obot Basi, gave the figures in an interview with reporters in Uyo. Basi said apart from the 11 convictions secured, several cases were still pending and undergoing prosecution at different stages in court. She said efforts should be prioritized to create awareness on the devastating consequences of drug abuse and illicit trafficking on youths and society, especially during the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has so far recovered over 30 billion naira out of the 109 billion naira allegedly siphoned by the suspended Accountant General of the Federation, Idris Ahmed. The chairman of the commission, Abdul Rashid Bawa, stated this while appearing at the ministerial media briefing organized by the Presidential Communications team. The EFCC boss also said over 3,615 convictions were recorded within the period and affirmed the administration's seriousness about its anti-corruption program. He announced that the nationwide auction of forfeited automobiles will be followed by the disposal of over 150 houses to interested buyers.
General of the Federation was arrested. Out of that fraudulent activities, the EFCC have recovered over 30 billion now, and we're already prosecuting them every day or every prosecution. The figure that I gave you of 3,615, over 50% of them has to do with what? Cybercrime. Because you can't conclude an investigation of a politically exposed person within 1 week, or within 2 weeks, or within 3 weeks. It takes months and years to conclude.
36 billion naira to the federal government account set up to collect and manage proceeds of crime since May 2022. The EFCC chairman, Abdul Rashid Bawa, revealed this to State House correspondents when he appeared at the 62nd session of the State House ministerial briefing organized by the Presidential Communication team at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. He said the recovered funds will be deployed into ongoing infrastructure projects such as the Abuja-Kano Road, Second Niger Bridge, and Lagos. The Department of State Services has asked Nigerians to conduct their activities in ways that promote public peace and safety. This is as it takes steps in concert with sister security agencies to maintain law and order across the country. At the same time, the agency has pleaded with community, religious, and political bodies to preach peaceful coexistence, tolerance, and unity. It also asked the groups to enlighten their members on safety measures during and after the season so as to prevent criminal elements who may want to capitalize on the festivities to wreak havoc or harm members of the STVNg. Akwa Ibom State has unveiled the official logo for its upcoming governorship debate in the state, while assuring transparency and calling for support from the media in seeing to the successful execution of the debate holding on the 29th of January 2023 at Ibom Icon Hotel and Golf Resort by 4 p.m. prompt. In his opening remarks, the Akwa Ibom State NUJ chairman, Emma Setuk, promised that the union would open its doors to all political parties to have access to it at all times. Delivering his remarks, the chairman, Akwa Ibom is an NUJ project and thus appealed to the media to own the project aimed at the betterment of all Akwa Ibom. The committee chair stressed that the committee has collected no money from anyone and operates independent of any political influence. Udofia further noted that only qualified candidates by law will be fielded on the day of the debate. Also speaking, the Akwa Ibom State Nigeria Labour Congress Chairman Sonny James, amongst other partners of the political debate, reiterated their support for the initiative, which they concurred is primarily aimed at selecting credible leaders who will effectively steer the affairs of the state from 2023. High point of the event was the unveiling committee official email address and a Google Sheet for questions to be sent to the committee's question bank. A correspondent reports that the hashtag of the event was announced as hashtag AKS Gov Debate 2023.
The agenda is that we must have Akwa Ibom sons who ensure that the choices we make in 2023 will be the very best choice for who will succeed His Excellency Governor Dom Emmanuel. And with less than 83 days to March 11th of the governorship elections, today's unveiling of the logo formally gives the governorship debate an identity, formally gives the governorship debate a new narrative, and formally lets Akwa Ibom people to know that the countdown has formally started. I want to assure you that NUJ, in collaboration with our partners, will ensure that this debate will come out satisfactorily to everybody. I want to assure you that we will ensure that critical sectors that need to be addressed will be given responses by the candidates who will have the opportunity to be on the biggest stage.
He has the privilege to have met three of the governorship candidates, but I have met all 6 of the governorship candidates, and I've spoken with them. They've given me the assurance that they would be coming for the debate.
What you can do is a well-thought idea, very apt in the time as it is. And therefore, the Young Labour Congress has refused to be subdued by anyone. And therefore, this is also the thinking of this committee, who are so far stand tall by not allowing anyone to say that it's the sole sponsor of the event. I am very proud and delighted to be part of it.
In a separate development on Friday, the management of TAF Media Group, owners of Planet FM, Spectrum TV and Tanxio FM, urged staff members to give in their best to ensure maximum productivity in the coming year 2023. This formed part of the discourse at the end of year meeting organized by the chairman of the group, Tony Afia, to appreciate staff for their individual and collective efforts put in to make the organization successful, while also setting the tone for 2023. A correspondent completes this report.
End of year gets together, and in this vein, TAF Media Group, owners of Planet 101.1 FM, Tanxio 102.7 FM, and Spectrum Television, gathered its staff members to celebrate an amazing year and urge its members to ensure maximum productivity in the coming year. Speaking at the get-together, the General Manager, TAF Media Group, Sunday Edet, thanks the staffers for doing their best to ensure the organization remain trailblazers in
those of you who have been at your beats doing your very best to ensure that there's a continued growth that we desire, that the company continues to be at the point where it is meant to be. This place is meant to be at the top. And I trust that if we open our minds, work together in love and peace and in harmony, we will be there where God wants us to be.
Departmental heads, who were also grateful for a successful year, charged all members of staff to continue doing the right things for the good of the company.
I want to encourage each and every one of us to ensure that you try to do marketing, promote your programs, promote other people's programs, find ways where we can make money.
2022, I just want to encourage us that if we close from work, every day you close from work, just help us. Because we cannot be everywhere, just help us. Just put off that socket and unplug. Because one of the major challenges we faced here this year is just a thunder strike. And we are doing everything possible to address that issue. And God will help us.
Wherever you are, if you know there is an information or something we could do that could also improve our content, please help us do it.
The chairman and CEO TAF Media Group, Tony Afia, members to continue giving more efforts for productivity in the coming year.
Let me first start by thanking all the staff. Wherever we found ourselves right now, we have done something to be here, to be at this level. We started with the Planet building exactly June 9, 2013. After Planet, we now got the Spectrum TV. We got this license around 2015, and then the almighty Tanxio came in.
The high points of the event were the rendition of Christmas songs to usher in the festivities and exchange of gifts by staff members in the spirit of the season. Edidion Martin, reporting for Spectrum.
In November. Stay with us.
Season's greetings from
Many thanks for staying tuned. Now on the foreign scene, the United Nations has voted to remove Iran from a women's rights body following a concerted campaign by the United States over Tehran's brutal crackdown of women-led protests. Iranian pro-democracy activists hailed the expulsion of the Islamic Republic from the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women for the remainder of its 2022-2026 term. A simple majority was needed to adopt the move, which was proposed by the United States, opposed by Iran, allies, Russia and China, and marks a diplomatic victory for Washington. 29 members of the UN Economic and Social Council voted in favor, 8 countries voted against, and 16 abstained. The resolution strips Iran of its membership of the Commission with immediate effect. In business, the biggest producer and exporter of sugar in the world is Brazil, with 21% of total production and 45% of the total exports. A significant amount of sugar is also produced in India, European Union, China, Thailand, and the United States. Sugar prices on ice rose to 19.7 cents in mid-December, hovering around the highest level in 3 weeks due to supply concerns. Reports indicated that heavy rainfall in top producer and exporter Brazil caused mills to leave millions of tons of sugarcane crops untouched in fields to be harvested for next year, since industry groups believe the crushing season has come to an end. At the same time, investors continue to assess supply expectations for the country amid the possibility that President-elect Lula could lift the country's fuel price cap in January, further supporting prices. The bullish momentum was also supported by the rebound in crude oil prices, driving sugarcane producers to allocate more cane for biofuel blending instead of crushing for sugar, thus reducing supply. Still in business, Ghana's annual inflation rate quickened for the 18th straight month to 50.3% in November of 2022, up from 40.4% in the prior month, to 10%. As the continued depreciation of the cedi during the month raised the cost of imported goods 51.1% versus 43.7% in October. Main upward pressure came from prices of housing and utilities, furnishings and household equipment, transportation and food, and non-housing package worth almost $3 billion on December 13. The loan is aimed to help Ghana face economic difficulties from unsustainable debts to waning reserves and a weakening currency. Well, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has revealed that Nigeria has regained its status as Africa's leading oil producer. OPEC, in its oil market report for December 2022, revealed that based on direct communication, Nigeria recorded 1.18 million barrels per day, the highest on record in 7 months, with a $9 billion in November. Based on secondary sources, Nigeria recorded 1.158 million barrels per day production in November 2022, ahead of Libya's 1.31. Crude oil output increased mainly in Nigeria and Angola, while production in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, and Iraq declined. In health, Hong Kong has announced that it will no longer require residents to use a scanning app to enter venues. It also said that overseas arrivals could now visit bars and restaurants from the moment they land, in a further easing of COVID-19 restrictions. Hong Kong authorities confirmed they were keeping a host of other rules, including mandatory PCR checks for overseas arrivals, daily testing of school children, and compulsory mask wearing. The latest measures come as authorities in mainland China navigate a rapid turn away from its zero-tolerance coronavirus strategy. Still in health, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) has seized unregistered and expired aphrodisiacs, another drug worth 20 million naira in Kaduna State. The agency made the seizures during a raid in 26 shops at the Sabon Gari market in Zaria local government area of the state. The seizures were microgynon drugs meant to be distributed free to internally displaced persons and oxytocin injections for women who delivered, which required a specific temperature to be stored, but were found in the open. Addressing newsmen after the raid, the Deputy Director in charge of the Investigation and Enforcement Directorate of NAFDAC Kaduna Office, Tamanuwa Andrew, said the continuous exercise was aimed at ridding markets of substandard and falsified medicines. Still to come in the news. France beats Morocco 2-0, sets up final against Argentina. Do stay with us. Now in sports, France will face Argentina in the World Cup final after eliminating Morocco 2-0 in a semi-final Wednesday in Qatar. The defending champions advanced past the Moroccan side that had upset European soccer powers Spain and Portugal to become the first African nation and first Arab nation to reach the World Cup's final four. Les Bleus will face Lionel Messi and Argentina on Sunday for the World Championship. So in sports, in the latest 100 teams in the world, recall that the new system for the FIFA World Ranking Youth was launched earlier this year, and it calculates the rating points for each game for each team, as well as the ranking according to the weighted average rating points of each team's overall games contributing to the ranking. According to the release on FIFA website, the countries not listed have 0 points and are therefore all positioned with the same rank. More in sports, Randolph Royce, part of the United States Olympic gold-winning 4x400-meter squad, has been banned for 3 years for faking an email to about system showed he had given new details. However, Ross later admitted to the Athletics Integrity Unit that he had doctored the email. He is banned until June 2025, and his results from June onwards are void. The two-time American Collegiate Champions medal from 2021's Tokyo Olympics and those of his teammates are unaffected as they fall outside of the period of his whereabouts failures. TV show Stephen Boss, popularly known as Twitch, has died at the age of 40. Boss's wife, Alison Holker, made a report to a Los Angeles police station that the disc jockey left home without his vehicle, an occurrence which she claimed was unusual. Afterwards, paramedics were alerted for a medical emergency at a hotel in Los Angeles, where Boss was eventually found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The celebrity dancer starred on The Ellen Show from 20. Away from that, 2 internet ticket touts who resold tickets for events by artists including Ed Sheeran have been ordered to repay more than £6 million. 53-year-old Peter Hunter and 68-year-old David Smith were convicted in 2020 of 3 counts of fraudulent trading and 1 of possessing articles for fraud. Leeds Crown Court was told that the pair benefited from their crimes an extra 8 years in prison. And finally, on entertainment, the highly anticipated special Big Brother Titans TV reality show that will feature housemates from Nigeria and South Africa will premiere on January 15, 2023, and the winner will get over 500 million naira The organizer, MultiChoice Nigeria, made the announcement at a media parley in Lagos, announcing the commencement of the show and days. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News. My name is Xavier Robert. Wishing you a terrific day. Bye-bye for now.